Welcome to Context Window, your weekly look at the bleeding edge of AI coding tools. Let's see what's new.
The current landscape for AI coding tools presents an interesting paradox. On one hand, developers today have a multitude of options, from established players to ambitious upstarts. On the other, there's a prevailing sense that the actual distinctiveness between these tools might not be as broad as the sheer number of products suggests.
That observation really encapsulates the market dynamic right now. While there's immense investment, reportedly nearing $60 billion in this sector, the critical question is whether that translates into genuinely diverse choices for developers, or if we're seeing more of an illusion of choice. Many tools appear to be converging on similar core functionalities, making true differentiation a constant challenge.
So if we look at the radar this week, where do we see this illusion of choice playing out most clearly? GitHub Copilot still feels like the default for many, setting a high bar for what an AI coding assistant should offer.
Absolutely. Copilot, deeply integrated into development workflows, particularly within VS Code, continues to serve as the industry's benchmark for intelligent code completion and suggestion. The significant event isn't necessarily a brand new feature release, but its sustained entrenchment as the baseline expectation. This matters because any new entrant or competitor largely has to match or exceed Copilot's core capabilities just to be considered. The sharp take here is that for a substantial portion of developers, the choice often begins and, for practical purposes, ends with Copilot, unless a very compelling, distinct advantage is presented elsewhere.
And underlying much of that, of course, are OpenAI's foundational codex models. They're still crucial, even if not always marketed as a direct standalone developer tool anymore.
Correct. Codex was truly foundational in demonstrating the power of large language models for code generation, essentially pioneering much of what we now take for granted. Its significance now primarily lies in its continuous influence on the entire ecosystem. While direct user-facing updates for Codex itself might be less frequent, its underlying advancements consistently push the performance envelope for the core technology, raising expectations for what any AI assistant should be capable of. It matters because OpenAI continues to dictate much of the underlying pace of innovation, even from a slight remove, impacting the capabilities available to other tools built upon similar architectures.
Then we have Anthropic with Claude Code, which often positions itself as a strong and arguably more responsible alternative. How is it carving out its niche in this competitive field?
With Claude Code, the narrative frequently emphasizes its larger context windows and its perceived reliability and safety features, particularly appealing to enterprise clients or those dealing with sensitive code bases. What's been consistently observed is a refinement of its offering, focusing on handling more complex, multi-file projects and maintaining coherent context over extended sessions. This matters because it attempts to differentiate not merely on raw code generation speed, but on the quality of interaction and the ability to maintain nuanced understanding across larger code bases. The sharp take is that Claude Code is trying to offer a different kind of choice, one based on depth, trustworthiness, and context management, rather than breadth of features.
Google's Gemini, with its immense resources, is also a significant player. How are they positioning their AI coding capabilities in this already crowded arena?
Google's strategy with Gemini for coding has been to integrate it deeply across its vast ecosystem of developer tools and cloud services, from Workspace to Google Cloud Platform. The ongoing development involves a continuous push to make Gemini a ubiquitous assistant within the Google stack, often highlighting its multimodal capabilities for tasks beyond pure code, such as generating tests from UI screenshots or assisting with debugging based on visual error logs. This matters because Google is leveraging its full platform advantage, aiming to make Gemini the natural, almost default choice for those already deeply embedded in their technological environment. The take here is that Gemini's primary differentiator in this market is its ambition for ecosystem lock-in rather than a standalone, uniquely superior coding experience.
And beyond these tech giants, we've seen tools like Cursor and Windsurf emerge. Are they offering a genuinely new experience, or are they refining what the larger players have already established?
These tools represent the next layer of innovation, often focusing heavily on the integrated developer experience. Cursor, for instance, has essentially built an entire IDE around AI assistance, integrating features like AI-powered chat, debugging, and direct code modification within the editor itself. Windsurf, while less publicly detailed, tends to point towards more specialized, possibly enterprise-focused code intelligence platforms. For these tools, the continuous "what's happening" is an effort to demonstrate superior workflow integration and a more profound understanding of project context. Why this matters is that they are attempting to move beyond mere code completion to a more holistic, AI-first development environment. The sharp take for these specialized players is that they're trying to provide a better interface and a more seamless experience for the underlying AI capabilities, hoping that workflow optimization is enough to sway developers, even if the core models they utilize are often not their own.
So, pulling back, it seems like despite all these names and offerings, we're still largely seeing variations on a theme. Powerful language models applied to code, with differentiation often coming down to integration, specific context handling, or platform tie-ins. The illusion of choice, then, isn't that there are no choices, but that the fundamental differences might be narrower than the sheer volume of marketing suggests.
Precisely. The market is undoubtedly bustling, and innovation is occurring, but a significant portion of it is incremental rather than truly disruptive in its core algorithmic approach to code generation. Many tools are striving for feature parity with the established leaders, or attempting to optimize the user interface for capabilities that are, at their heart, quite similar across platforms. The reported $60 billion valuation attributed to this market, while substantial, might be driven more by the potential of AI encoding than by a truly diverse competitive landscape offering radically different solutions. The core models are so powerful that the differentiation often comes down to the surrounding tooling and developer experience, rather than a unique breakthrough in the act of code generation itself.
It implies that developers are often choosing between different flavors of a very similar underlying technology, rather than distinct paradigms for how AI assists coding.
That's a fair summary. The crucial question for the industry and for developers navigating this space will be whether truly novel approaches can emerge that break free from this pattern, or if the market will continue to consolidate around a few dominant integrated platforms, albeit with various front-end experiences.
That's all for this episode of Context Window. Join us next time for more on the AI tools shaping how we build software. If you're building with AI, subscribe. We cover what matters.
Ship smarter, not harder.